So I'm Gilbert Baker. I'm a vexillographer. Vexillography is the making of flags, and I love to sew. That's my craft, my art. And I made the rainbow flag in 1978, and here we are, 2009, and I'm still making them. So there you go.
Tom, I'm going to ask you, is here his fingers touching the table? Are you picking that up? Okay.
Yes, bad?
No.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
We made one.
Great. First one's done. Okay.
Check. Okay, next.
So just, when did you get your first sewing machine?
Oh, that's a good question. I got my first sewing machine when I got out of the Army in 1972. I got out of the Army. I was drafted 72. I got out of the Army and I stayed in San Francisco, and 72 was like glam rock, and I just had to dress like David Bowie every second, and of course had no money to buy clothes, so I thought, well, I'll make my own clothes. So I had a friend that had a singer, and I would sort of hang out with her and look at Vogue patterns and read all about Halston and Saint Laurent and Studio 54. And slowly I began to sew, and then I got a Kenmore. I think it was 72, 73. I got my first little Sears Kenmore. Great machine.
Excellent. And so you kind of just answered this, but when and where did you learn to sew?
Well, sewing, is an ancient art, and my grandmother actually was a tailor and ran a men's clothing store, so I was always very familiar with, fashion, and men's fashion in particular, and the art and high craft of tailoring and sewing. It didn't really become a feature of my life until I came out of the closet, because for me it was all about sewing ball gowns and being fabulous and a drag queen, and that didn't really go over so well when I was younger. So once I was liberated, well, of course, I used the sewing machine as an instrument to express myself. And so for me, that's been a blessing.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kansas, right in the middle of the country, just like Dorothy. Well, not exactly, but, that's another story. I grew up in the 50s. I grew up teenage years in the 60s. So I was right at a pivotal moment in the genesis of human rights and the awareness of human rights. And for me, that became, very important early on in my life. I remember watching, Selma, Alabama, and things going on in the early 60s, and being a very young, junior high teenager, and being very moved by that, And then, of course, there was the whole explosion of culture and music, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the whole way that changed everything. But I think looking back on that time period now, and then I hated it, and there were a lot of difficult times for me. But I think the thing that really sticks with me is like, okay, well, what was it that set us apart, that made us become who we are, activist artists? And I think it was dancing. I remember there was a pivotal moment about dancing, and I would go, I think, 63, 4 in there somewhere, and you would go to the junior high school dance, and you had to have a partner. But then all of a sudden, you didn't have to have a partner. And it was, Chubby Checker and the Twist, and you didn't have to have a partner. So once dancing became this individual thing, it, I think, opened us up to exploring our individual sexuality and sensuality and the freedom that dance, and in particular, brings to us physically. And so I think that changed everybody profoundly, was once we figured out that we didn't have to dance, boy, girl, couple, and prescribed steps. That dance was about the liberation of the body. That changed everyone.
I'm going to push my chair back because I don't want you to glance over at me.
Okay, sit over here then.
Look a little odd. Well, even if I were.
I have bad eyes. Are you kidding? I have Rasputin eyes.
But just seeing just look back and forth. I'm going to just pull out completely out of.
Okay, good. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah. I have wild eyes. So there you go. I'm not wearing my glasses, so there.
Were you picking up on that, Tony?
A little bit. It wasn't that bad, but I was going to say something.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Please do.
Here. Want to sit here or?
Well, I think even his eyes looking up and down at her.
Let's try this, and we'll see how it goes.
I can't see him at all. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Okay, so moving forward a little bit from the 50s and 60s, I guess, who came up with the nickname the Gay Betsy Ross?
Oh, that was immediate. I mean, the day I decided to make a rainbow flag, people were like, oh, you're Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross doesn't mean anything to people in Europe. I go to Europe, they love the rainbow flag, and they say, gay Betsy Ross, who is Betsy Ross? Because it's such an Americanism, so I find that kind of funny. And then, of course, I know a lot about Betsy Ross, the real Betsy Ross, and that was actually a very interesting myth about Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross was an upholsterer, lived in Philadelphia at the time of the Revolution, a Quaker, a young woman who was self-employed, very unusual, and educated, also very unusual. She had 3 husbands, all of whom died in the Revolutionary War. Washington approached her to make the flag because she ran an upholstery shop, and of course in those days, this is before the sewing machine, everything was a needle and thread. And so she reportedly made the first American flag, but that did not come to light until almost 50 years after she died in 1830. And it was only during the centennial of America, 100 years after the birth of the country, that she was discovered by her grandson, Vincent Canby, who was a writer and gave a very important speech about her to the Daughters of the American Revolution. And they quickly embraced her as the female equivalent to George Washington, the father of the country, the mother of the flag, because that was the moment that suffragette, 1876 I'm talking about here, and a certain momentum became more and more part of the culture, especially in the United States and England, about suffragette and the rights of women. And so women adopted her as their sort of iconic mythological figure to represent their role, important one, in the revolution. And then, of course, it exploded into sheet music, and she became this allegorical goddess and this big myth. And, you go to grade school, and who made the American flag? Oh, Betsy Ross. But in fact, it was Francis Hopkinson who was the designer of the flag and is remembered that way on his tombstone in Philadelphia. So mythology, it's American history. That's Betsy Ross.
Describe the process of making the original rainbow flag, and there were 2.
Yes, there were 2. Right? There were. I wasn't sure people even get that it was a flag, quite frankly. I had flagpoles, and we were going to make them pretty, and flags. But it was a time of community building. We didn't like flags. Flags were nationalistic, and so it was kind of an anti-flag. We wanted something, or at least I did, that was, from nature, that was, across boundaries. So there's an old saying in vexillography, actually it's not old, I get credit for this, but you can't design a flag. A flag is torn from the soul of the people. So when I decided to make a rainbow flag, I knew exactly what I was doing. I had thought about it. I thought that our movement could use a flag. That's an important visibility tool. It's a way of proclaiming power. And I didn't even think twice about what the flag would be. A rainbow fit us. It is from nature. It connects us to, all the colors of sexuality, and all the diversity in our community, and really is for everyone. And that was always my dream, was that, it would be the gay flag, if you will, but that really we were here to change the world, to save the planet.
And can you tell me about the difference between those 2 flags?
Oh, just one was one upside down and one was the other way. And one of them, at the last minute, we put a little field of tie-dyed stars in. My friend Ferry Argyle, the tie-dyed queen of San Francisco, came in, and we tie-dyed some stars, and then we sewed it in there because I thought, well, people aren't really going to get it's the rainbow flag. They'll get it's a flag if we put some stars in it, like the American flag. But so it was handmade, hand-dyed cotton. It was the whole 1978 organic thing, even organic detergent, just crazy. Fun, beautiful.
Would you be able to say that again, but specifically about the process of it being handmade, and
Sure.
And use that in a statement?
Well, it was handmade, the first flag. That's an important thing. The first flag is the first flag. And I felt really great about doing that. And so fun. In fact, we made it at the Gay Community Center in San Francisco, which was important that be the birthplace. I had so much help. My friend Ferry, as I mentioned, came in to do some tie-dye. We put some stars in one to make sure people got it's a flag. And, it was just an amazing process of, 1,000 yards of cotton that we had to wash several times to get the sizing out, and then natural organic dyes that stain you forever when you're using them, but make the most beautiful, vivid colors. And then the fabric, very thin cotton that lasted about a week, but looked like silk, and endless hours of ironing and the sewing, of course, on a little machine, stitch, stitch, stitch. So all through that, I knew that this was a really special thing, that this was a special, special moment, and then when it went up, it was life changing.
And where did that happen?
It happened in San Francisco. The rainbow flag was an evolution of the Gay Pride, or Gay Freedom Day in those days, as we call it. Those celebrations in June, which all commemorate Stonewall. And flags often commemorate rebellions or riots or revolutions. And so our flag, the rainbow flag, it does connect to the Stonewall riot, because that's what we celebrate in June. So it has that root. And so in 78, I lived in San Francisco, and in 1978 it was an incredible place to be. Harvey Milk was alive, and my friend, and great inspiration, and teacher to all of us. And it was a time of incredible empowerment and political organizing and community building and artistic expression, and not just mine. There's so many things, like the gay band started, the gay choruses, gay theater, just everything exploded in 1978. This was an amazing moment of empowerment.
Is it true that Harvey Milk asked you to design a symbol for the community?
Well, I think people want to play with that. Well, he was my friend, and I talked to him a lot. Actually, we talked a lot about the pink triangle.
I'm sorry. Would you say Harvey Milk and then start?
Well, Harvey Milk was my friend, and we talked a lot about the pink triangle. Really, up until the rainbow flag, the pink triangle was the dominant symbol that we used. But it came from the Nazis. It was put on us, and it had a really horrible negative origin about murder and Holocaust. And Harvey was Jewish, so he always kind of like me went, it doesn't really work. I mean, yeah, I get it, and we want to remember that, but that isn't us. That isn't our soul. It isn't from us. It's put on us. So Harvey was always like, we have to have a new logo, and we had a lot of graphic people around him. I mean, it was like, it was a time when everything got a little gizmo, like Ma Bell was like a thing, and it was very graphic, and the explosion of the graphic arts, especially in the mid-'70s. So we had to have a logo, as Harvey would say, but I took that to mean more than just a gizmo. We needed a symbol, and flags in particular are more powerful than just advertising. They carry an immense amount of meaning to every individual. That's what's so great. You project the meaning for yourself on it. Everyone decides for themselves what that means, and that's the incredible power of it.
We just sort of talked a little bit about this, but again, just to make sure we have it directly, why was it important for our community to have a symbol?
Well, it's still important for us to have a symbol. It was important in 1978 because we were inventing ourselves. We were, setting up our identity, if you will. I mean, identity politics are maybe a little out of fashion now, but that's a very privileged point of view. The fact is that visibility is where our power starts, and the first visibility is the power of the individual. When you come out of the closet, when you accept who you are, and you're not living a lie, you're living in the truth, that changes the world. That's the thing that connects everybody. That's why the flag connects us, because we can all look at that and know that moment when that rainbow meant something to us. That became my rainbow and somebody else's rainbow. They don't know anything about me. It's not owned. It's public domain intentionally. It's owned by everyone, so that a young dyke or transsexual in Belgrade, or some struggling young kid in Moscow, or even people my age that have lived oppressed all their lives in places like Indonesia and Iran, they can look at that rainbow and know that that belongs to them, that that's visibility, and know that that's power. It's a hope. So it's a special, incredible thing, the rainbow. As a part of nature, it isn't just an advertisement for our political movement. It does connect us to something divine, and we are divine. There's a reason that we're here. There's a reason that this is happening, and in my mind, it's because we're here to save the planet. We're here to teach love to the rest of the world, and we've done a spectacular job in my lifetime of going from that place of the pink triangle, from being murdered and victimized and persecuted, to being empowered enough so that we can, fly rainbow flags in San Francisco and many places around the world. And, you put it up, you're saying something. It's a direct action that people do around the world. And it's so wonderful because other people share it. You put your flag up and people passing share that moment and thought. It's very cool. I'm taking a sip.
Good plan. Let's see.
How are we doing? Am I talking too fast?
It sounds great. I want to have you make a note. Do you have a photo of your friend Barry? That was his name?
No, her. No.
Because it would be nice if you had a shot.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, let's see here. How was the rainbow flag received by the LGBT community, and how was it revealed?
Well, it went up publicly on a big flagpole, 30 by 60 foot, twice. It was huge, bigger than any flag ever, in San Francisco, and immediate. It blew my mind. It totally blew my mind. I'd been spending all these hours, we dyeing the fabric and sewing, and are they going to get it? Are they going to get it? Well, they got it. And I just remember that when it was up in the air, pulling the cables and getting it up in the air in the morning, just looking around, the people that were there just owned it. You could just look in their eyes and see that this went right to their souls, and they just owned it. And that totally changed my whole life. I knew right at that moment, when the flag went up and I was looking into the eyes of people that were around and seeing their reaction, I thought, oh my gosh, it's more than I dreamed. It really is an incredible channel, if you will. And, it changed my life,
So it was actually both of them were raised. They weren't in a parade or anything?
No, we raised them up on flags. They were quite huge. And flags should fly. I mean, I love carrying flags, and I'm certainly renowned for my world record displays, which are too big to fly. But no, a flag belongs in the wind. That's what, to me, is kind of the beauty of a flag. And whatever flag is the way that cloth and wind interact. It's a kinetic sculpture. It's beautiful. It's ancient. I mean, it goes to earliest times. It's hypnotic.
Can you talk a little bit about the history of the rainbow in other cultures?
Sure. It goes in every culture. The rainbow's in every culture. The Egyptians, you can see it. The Chinese, Native Americans. It really, Pacific Islands. It's really everywhere. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, Genesis. One of the few instances where God speaks directly. It says, I set my bow in the clouds as a covenant between me and all living creatures. Well, we're all living creatures. And I think that that's one of the reasons that the religious right has not been able to destroy it. Because the statement is in the Bible. It's from God. And they're kind of, wanting to set up their, borders and boundaries for discrimination. But when you look at the truth in the Bible, and their truth and their religion, it's kind of hard to, get around that. So I think that that's wondrous and fitting. It is a divine thing. A rainbow, it's a odd phenomenon. It takes eyes to see a rainbow. It's like, does a tree fall in a forest? Does anyone hear it? Well, does a rainbow happen if no one sees it? And so it takes eyes, and it takes, the right, combination of sunlight and moisture in the atmosphere to make the prisms. And then to take that farther into, physics, light, is magic as well. And I think that we're lucky that we have all of those things inside of us. And so it's natural for us to have the rainbow.
Very nice. Let's see here. Why did you decide not to copyright the rainbow flag?
Oh, I didn't decide that. Copywriting the rainbow flag? Oh, if I had my way, I'd own this island. We're in Manhattan. No, flags are public domain. And I didn't really realize that I didn't do this for money. I made it to be a political symbol. But when I saw immediately what a hit it was, I mean, within 5 minutes, people were saying, "Make me one." You know, the first one that people were saying, "Make me one," and really within a couple of months, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm making all these flags," and I couldn't keep up. And I actually went into the flag industry for years, and that's when I found out. Oh, by the way, flags properly, legally, to be a flag, not to be an advertisement or a banner, but to be a flag, must be in the public domain. And even though that certainly, put a damper on my lawyer's enthusiasm for my riches, it's fitting. How would it work if somebody owned it? It's that thing about everyone owning it. It doesn't have a celebrity personality driving it. It's driven by the meaning that it has in each individual. So I've protected the public domain. I embrace that, and I protected it. People have done sleazy or awful things. I mean, I as much as I can. I can't stop people from exploiting the rainbow flag, commercially. It drives me crazy. I see people putting on advertisements, and they don't give a dime to us. It's just their way of, grabbing some gay dollars. That drives me nuts. And then at the same time, I see people who are other craftspeople, making beautiful jewelry or something, out there in Vancouver, or some fabulous costume in Paris or something like that, and their art and their soul is in it, and that's beautiful. That's what it should be. But I don't have any control. It's public domain. That's what it means. It belongs to everybody, and with that comes good and bad.
Does it bother you that a symbol you created has been co-opted or appropriated by commercial companies?
No. No, it's part of the life of it. I mean, that's the.
Can you state the question in?
I'm sorry. Well, the commercialization of the flag. Does it bother me? Well, yes and no. Like I said, it bothers me when the commercialization is just flat out exploitation. But at the same time, I think that that's part of spreading the message. I mean, when organizations use it on their, the Rainbow House, or the Rainbow whatever. It's on many, many names of things and used that way in their logos and interpretation. That's beautiful. And and then there are important corporate partners, that have had a long history with us, that have embraced human rights. So I celebrate that, and I celebrate every entity, business, corporate, that does embrace us. We've gotten a lot of our civil rights because we first claimed them in the workplace, and through union organizing and just gay people organizing themselves to be equal in the workplace has moved us forward to a place where now it's more about marriage and other things. But the workplace issues are still important, and what drives that are employees and businesses realizing our value and celebrating who we are. So the commercialization, it's just part of it. It's just, it's the gray hair of it. It just happens.
How has the flag changed or evolved since the original? The original interpretation, I think, had 8 colors. Right?
It did. It did have 8 colors.
Can you state that?
The original flag had 8 colors. The pink for sex, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sun, green for nature, turquoise for magic, blue for serenity, and purple for the spirit. That was the hippie 1978 meanings for the thing. Well, first thing was, I ran out of pink fabric. I mean, I literally exhausted the entire supply of pink fabric, and I would go to the flag maker and say, "No flag has pink. What are you talking about? Gay flag." I was like, "No, it's got pink." So I had to make a compromise, and plus it was 8 colors. And also remember that I wanted it to be a flag, and a flag is a symbol that needs to be interpreted in other ways besides cloth. And in those days, 4-color printing was really expensive, and 6-color, 8-color printing was really difficult. So I quickly compromised once I went into the flag industry to the 6-color version, as I call it, the commercial version, because it was possible to reproduce it in print, and it was possible to produce it in a way that people could afford it. But then 20 years later, technology catches up, and all of a sudden I've got dyes in 1,000 colors, no problem, and better machinery, better, skills. So slowly I've been bringing it back. But somebody told me, don't step on your own dress. so, so the 8 colored ones that you see are pretty much ones that I personally have made. I sort of use that as my signature for my original art. And then I make 6 colored ones as well. So it did have that. And then, of course, it changed from being, hand-dyed and, handmade to being better in nylon to last, to serve the function of a flag. And now to, full tilt, polyester explosion coming from Hong Kong and prison factories in China, which bothers me, but, I can't control that. So it has evolved. Excuse me.
Take your time. When did the flag spread from San Francisco and become a national and international?
Pretty quick. San Francisco, 1978. By the next year, it had begun to filter out of San Francisco and Los Angeles, and came to New York, 79, 80 in there somewhere. Began to filter out pretty quickly. Really, in the terms of its life, those first years were exciting because it was just about getting manufacturers. And it took me 10 years to get the flag manufacturers. There's 2 associations, a world association, and it took me 10 years to get flag manufacturers to call it the gay flag. What is it? It's the gay lesbian flag. That's what they finally decided. 10 years and votes. And I'd have the good old boy flag companies saying, oh, gay flag? No way. The Stars and Stripes aren't good enough for you? And I'm like, well, yeah, I like that flag and I love that flag, but this is another flag. It took me a long time to get it respected by the industry so that it could be commercially produced in a way that could satisfy the demand. I mean, I would go into meetings saying, trust me, people will buy them, and they wouldn't. And I had to demonstrate over and over again the power of our market. So as a marketing person, the rainbow flag is fascinating because I consider myself to be authority about gay marketing because I've watched what I made becoming used and interpreted and then directly the way I marketed to make sure that there are, today, I don't know, 20, 30 million flags in existence in the world. I mean, it's astounding. That's just flags. That doesn't count advertising or images or, the photographs people take at the parade or the costumes or the beads or any of that, just flags. So it took a long time. And then it took until 1994 when I did the mile-long flag in New York City. That was a world record, the biggest flag in the world, insane. At the end of the march, past the United Nations and going up to Central Park, I had thought of everything except about what to do with it after it was over. We were going to cut pieces up, and people had given some money to some AIDS charities, and they got a commemorative piece, but it was a mile long. It was a lot of flag. And so I literally had teams of people just running through it with scissors, chunking it, handing off pieces to people. Somebody from London was a friend. Here, take this to London. Here, take this to Hong Kong. Take this to El Salvador. And I was literally just chunking it up, handing it away, saying, here, take it, use it. And that really sent it worldwide. The event itself was a big celebration, Stonewall 25 in New York, and there was a lot of marketing power, a lot of corporate money in those days, and the Gay Games was here, and there's a whole explosion of stuff. So, and people came here from all around the world. So when they went back, they certainly took the rainbow with them, and it was already in London and Paris and Berlin, big cities. It was already there, but when 1994 happened after that, it really became ubiquitous. It was just astounding, reaching places I never dreamed, like Russia and really deep Eastern Europe and even the East. It's very cool.
Would you want to get him explaining the genesis of how the mile-long flag came about?
Yeah, that's a later question.
Okay.
Since he went into it.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue first with kind of the flag's journey. What do you think about the flag's iconic journey, and how has it changed as an icon over the years?
Very little, really. I mean, as an actual thing, really, it's pretty simple. It's some fabric, that's colors that is sewn together, and up it goes. It hasn't really changed. I mean, the meanings have changed. In the beginning, it was gay, and then 1978, there were a lot of things, and all of a sudden, gay, lesbian. Women wanted their word. They wanted their identity. They fought for it in the gay movement I'm talking about. And so it became gay, lesbian, or lesbian and gay. And then a few years later, bisexual. A few years later, transgender. All of them expanding the spectrum, if you will, of our movement. All of them claiming, if you will, a color, if you will. And that's really cool. Because like I said in the beginning, it was made for everyone, not just my particular brand of sexuality or yours, but that's the great thing about a rainbow is that it's all of the colors. It isn't just 8 colors or 6 colors, it's infinite colors. And that's what we all intuitively love about it. That my one little grain of sand life has got some meaning in that bigger rainbow that, God put in the sky. So that's fabulous.
Since the 70s, there have been places that aren't allowed to fly the rainbow flag, or even some in this country too that receive flack if they put it up. Talk to me about that, or have you talked to people?
Sure. Yeah, I get people, calling, or I get a lot of email stories from around the country and around the world about I put a rainbow flag up on my house and it got vandalized, or, I wore a rainbow flag T-shirt to school and they sent me home, or, I put a rainbow flag sticker on my car and the windshield got broken. I mean, like I said, it's a direct visibility action. When you put a flag up or you wear it or something, you're saying something. You're doing something. You're saying, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. It makes you a target. Not everywhere, but that's part of that's the hard price of visibility. And so, sure, I hear that, and and it's sad. I mean, it can be tragic, even violent, and so that makes me angry. But at the same time, it kind of validates it. The people that have the courage to do that, the people that stand up, they're moving it forward. So even though there are hate people out there, they know what they're hating. So that visibility is the way that we confront them peacefully. The way that we turn violence is to stay visible.
I've heard you say in an interview before, and also you mentioned it earlier, a true flag can never be designed. It has to be ripped from the souls of the people.
Yes, that's right. It's so grand, isn't it? It's very Diana Vreeland.
Can you restate that and tell me what it means, how the rainbow flag is a demonstration of that?
Well, as I said, it comes from us. So the flag is this thing that we share. Its meaning may be different to me than to you or to anyone. This individualness, the infinite individuality of our sexuality. So, but that we can look at that and know that that's what that's about is very cool. So it's actually something that words will never capture. A flag is its own thing. So, I can try and express it in words, but it will never have the power of an actual flag flying and what the meaning of that is to the person that put it up and the people seeing it. It's not a word thing. It's an art thing.
Getting a refrigerator.
What happened? Refrigerator?
Yeah, your refrigerator.
Oh my God, the systems are going.
I'm just going to turn the temperature down temporarily.
Okay, take it away.
Turn it back up. Okay.
Are we good?
Good.
So, you were just telling me about how a flag can't be expressed.
Yeah, it's an art thing. It's not a word thing. Flags are their own trip. They're their own media, if you will. It's not the language. It transcends language. That's why it works in America, and it works in Budapest, and it works in Brazil, and it works in Japan. And the rainbow, as I mentioned, is also cross-cultural. It goes deep into every culture. So that we claimed it and turned it into a flag is really fabulous. I mean, we own, some choice real estate when it comes to iconography. We have something fantastically beautiful and magical.
Bless you. Okay, and you've mentioned this idea a couple times as well, but I'm going to ask you directly. Why is visibility action important?
Because it's power.
And restate, visibility action is...
Visibility is important action. It's, that was terrible. Cut.
Take two.
Visibility is important because it's power. Visibility is an individual act. Like I said, it starts with the individual coming out. That's the thing that connects us. It connects art through all the diversity from generation to generation is that moment that we all share when all of a sudden we realize who we are, that I'm a gay person or I'm a lesbian or this is who I am, and we accept that and love that. That moves the world forward. And in a lot of places, people know they're gay, but they can never tell anyone. They'll be killed. In a lot of places, people know who they are and they are living in the truth, but they're living in prisons. A state-sanctioned violence, state-sanctioned oppression. So visibility is really the seed of our power. If it wasn't for people standing up, Stonewall Bar, saying, no, wait a minute, this is wrong, this is who I am. I have a right. If it wasn't for that, we would be invisible because we're everybody. We're in every group. We're in every race. We're part of every community. But when queer people, just to use that big one, claim their visibility, that's saying, wait a minute, we are different. We aren't just like you. We have this thing. Really, that's the only thing we really do have in common with them, is the way we is sex. I think really we're very different from the rest of the world. And I think that that's worth celebrating. And I think that that's worth fighting for, because I don't accept the world that I was born into. I don't accept oppression. I don't accept violence. I don't accept war. Those things are wrong. The reason gay people are here and the reason that we're visible today massively around the world and more so in every way, everywhere, is because we're, like I said, we're here to do something. If we're a movement, we have to move something. We have to change something. And that means together we're changing our world, our planet, from a place of hate and violence and war to a place of love and diversity and acceptance. And that is why we're here. I mean, that's the big long rainbow from before me to well after me. And, we're all part of that. And that is why visibility, that personal moment of claiming who you are, is so important. And then if you're able to, and many people have, found fantastic ways of expressing themselves in the most profound art. I mean, I have so many heroes in the art world, I can't even list them for you, that have inspired me, that have taught me, that have educated me. And so once you know who you are, then you're free to explore that and to become, whoever you are, and to participate more fully as a world citizen and do the good work of moving our society, toward a more just place.
This segment is for the 40th anniversary
Oh,
of
yeah.
Stonewall this year.
Oh my God, I have something. Stop. Hold the presses. Okay, over there. Stop. Over there. I've saved it for this moment. Over there on the sort of lower shelf. See this rack right here?
Yeah.
Over there. Go over there.
Yeah.
Go over there.
Okay.
On the shelf.
On this side or that side?
That side. 3 shelves. No.
On this side?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're going to get it from there. You'll see some red fabric there.
Okay, yeah.
It's heavy. Just pick up that whole bundle and bring it to me and set it right here on the table. I know it'll be in the shot. That's how I am.
Wow.
check this out. Oh yeah, here, just hand it to me. Now this, okay, now we're talking. Now this is 40th anniversary. This is a banner that I'm making, still underway, but check it out. The Ruby anniversary, 40th anniversary, the Ruby anniversary, okay, Ruby slippers. And so I'm making this fabulous banner for Heritage of Pride. Isn't that beautiful? Which is here in New York. So I made them this beautiful ruby red banner for to use for the Gay Pride Parade.
May I interject? Actually, can we get you saying that without doing it, and then later what we'll do is we'll have you looking at it.
Okay,
and
okay, just
cut that
okay,
into it.
Okay, that's bad. I'm sorry. That's really
Love
not,
the
that
Fantastic.
banner is fat.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll get
That's a
you on
Gilbert
that,
banner.
and then she'll be able to
Okay, no
cut to
problem.
you explaining it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Just got carried away.
So tell me about your. The question was actually, are you doing anything special for the 40th anniversary of Stonewall this year?
A little. I'm not making a mile-long flag. The millions are gone now that the banks are closing.
Can you just restate
Oh,
for the 40th anniversary?
For the 40th anniversary of Stonewall, well, I'm not making a mile-long flag because the millions are gone from the banks downtown, the sponsors. But I am sewing. I'm never going to stop that. So I decided to make banners, to make, in the old school, in my beautiful, Gilbert fabulous glamour way, banners, street banners. Like I'm making a fantastic one for Heritage of Pride, the Ruby anniversary. So it's with fabulous ruby sequin diamond thing. It's a banner to blow your eyes out 5 blocks away. And I celebrate people that organize Pride and many groups. So this year it's all about making exquisite, fabulous banners for groups and causes that I really embrace and believe in. So it's kind of a little homespun.
Talk about the Mile Long Flag, 1994. Tell me why 1994 was important, and then talk a little bit about how that all came together.
Well, it was the 1994. 1994 was the 25th anniversary of Stonewall. And it's kind of a marker, the 25th anniversary, the silver anniversary. And it came just a year or so after a big march on Washington, 1993 or so. So there was this big enthusiasm for big mass events. And of course, I'm a total sucker for the biggest rock show ever. So I wanted to do something in New York. I'd never been here. And I wanted to do something wonderful for New York. And I just hit on that I would make the biggest flag in the world. And sort of through my skills as an Imagineer, if you will, engineering and imagination, I figured out how to do that. And then luckily, Cleve, my good friend Cleve Jones, had a connection to a pharmacy that was looking to do massive gay marketing and had money. And, that certainly got the ball rolling. And then I just, made it happen. I sewed it up, and thousands of people carried it, and off it went into the history books. It was pretty amazing. It was fun. And through that, I loved New York. I'm the guy that got off the airplane from San Francisco, and I had a great life in San Francisco, but I got off the airplane in New York and fell in love. I knew I was going to live here forever. So, that it changed me in the sense that it was a sort of evolution of my own artistic career, my skills, my interests. I sort of evolved by coming to New York and became more world aware. And then from New York, I've been able to explore more of the world. But I never lost my San Francisco hippie roots. You can see them right here. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was a gimmick. Cleve and I are geniuses at making media irresistible candy. And, it needed it. It was an important story, but we needed something that was going to, go everywhere, and a picture goes everywhere. And I knew that would, by the scale of it alone, would certainly be an important aspect to the overall communication of what that event was about. And it worked, brilliantly. I mean, for me, it was all about the dream, sketching paper, all the math that goes into it, and all the incredible, time and skill and labor and money and just all of the things that I do to put something like that together. But it's all for this one moment that I dreamed way long time ago, and there I am. I'm watching it on the. I remember running home from Central Park and turning on the television right at the moment they had the big aerial shots coming up. Peter Jennings live from New York. I'm like, oh, there it is, that moment. And then later on seeing it, somebody running up to me at 11 o'clock at night, waving the New York Times, saying, "My God, it's like 5 columns wide above the fold," And I knew that. I knew that was what I wanted to do. It was more than just making the flag. It was about making a flag that would become the vehicle for this incredible media visibility that would send our message worldwide. So I felt very fulfilled as an artist that I was able to do that.
That's great. Where were you when it was being carried? Were you carrying it as well?
No, actually, I was. Sure. I mean, I was kind of operating it. It's kind of like a big snake, if you will, 5,000 people, a mile long. You can't even see the end of it. It weighs thousands of pounds. It's actually about operating it from the beginning, from the moment that it's unfolded and handed to people. The same thing happened in Key West. By then I had a little more experience in how to operate it. But it really is about the unfolding moment. And I remember we had packaged it very carefully. I spent a lot of time studying fire hoses, the way fire departments use hoses and deploy them into long lines to fight. I studied that immensely. Okay, how's this work? Okay, that's a model. So we bundled it up with little strings and tied thousands of bows. It had to be a bow that you could just pop. And every few feet as we made it and folded it. So then here's the big moment, and it's unfurling, and we're going pull. Little things. Oh, it's just fabulous, flowing out. It's about 5 blocks down the road. You can't even see it anymore. And all of a sudden, it has a life of its own because people are just grabbing on, and it's the people pulling it or carrying it, as it will, and people coming up. And within, 10, 15 minutes, all control was over. We just stood back as it came tumbling out of the truck, and all the little bows that held it together were pop, 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 pop. And people were grabbing it and carrying it up the street. So, it was something wondrous to be part of. And then as we got it up to the end, I think 57th Street or something like that, we had unfurled it. I had my friend up in the helicopter, hey, Mick, and all the news media, making sure to get those great aerials and the images. And once we had done it, really, I was, I think, in front of the UN in a silver sequin dress that everyone could recognize me in. And I cut it. I went just right through it with a pair of scissors, and people were like, oh my God. And then moving back to the beginning of it, and then other people began to cut pieces more towards 57. I began to just chunk it up and send pieces over to Fifth Avenue, where there was the alternative march. Because my dream wasn't First Avenue, my dream was Fifth Avenue. And so to really make sure I had the dream that I wanted realized, I sent my guerrilla, with girlfriend power every step of the way. I guerrillaed it, maybe a block and a half of it over to Fifth Avenue, where it sort of reconstituted so that it could pass in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral, which for me was the big money shot, the big us and them, the message. And so New York, iconic. And that was great fun. And then, and we got that. That's what I saw on Peter Jennings. I didn't see First Avenue. They showed that later. The first thing they showed was that aerial shot over Fifth Avenue coming up over St. Patrick's Cathedral, and lo and behold, there was enough flag to fill the frame, a block of flag or something like that. And then, we carried it into Central Park. I laid in the arms of my boyfriend all afternoon. It was, pretty fun. So, yeah, it's a good memory for me to have special. I mean, I live such a crazy life, and really my particular vantage point is so unique. So I feel pretty lucky, that I got to live it. And they're fantastic photographs. And many of my friends shared that with me. So
was that when you were telling us the other day? Was that the flag when that was coming out, or was that in another country that there was actually something violent that was happening?
Oh, that was later. Yeah. Um, 2003, I sort of did it again. I created an even bigger one with 8 colors in Key West to go from the Gulf of Mexico to the Atlantic Ocean, sea to sea. Everyone told me I was crazy. I had a hard time getting sponsors. Absolute jumped on, bless them. But people were like, "What are you doing in this nowhere town at the end of the world?" I'm like, no, it's really going to be cool. I'm going to be in the ocean, and it's going to be like this. And it was. It was fabulous. And at the end of that one, I had it more together. This time I had already pre-cut it and then sewed it back together so that it could come apart in beautifully finished sections that I sent to, I don't know, maybe 200 cities around the world. But I sent a 1,000-foot section of it over to Stockholm. Um, uh, and they had a great gay pride there. Hundreds of thousands came. It was one of the biggest they'd ever had. And we did. We carried it to get the big money shot, in front of the Royal Palace. If you know Stockholm, beautiful city of water. And the Royal Palace is really the shot of Stockholm. And we did. We carried it past it, the thousands of people carrying it, so happy and wonderful. And, I'm really given a great deal of respect and honor in Europe for my work. And so it's thrilling. And just as we're like half a mile past it or something, the police came up to me, going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Everything's great. It's fabulous. That's Sweden. I love Sweden." I said, "Oh, okay, good." Just turns out they were on their way to rescue one of the people who was carrying the flag at the very end of it, and sort of got lost in the sort of space between the big giant flag and whatever the next thing in the march was. At that moment, a crowd, mob of young skinheads, Nazis, came running down from the sort of hillside of the palace into the parade march route and beat him up in front of everyone. It was a total act of complete terror against gay people, and it was astounding. Hundreds of them beating one person up to a bloody pulp, broke his jaw. He almost died. And no one could stop it. People would run in to try and pull them off. They would get beat up too. It was only when the police finally were able to get involved and get them away. It blew my mind. Sorry. Let this ring 4 times, it'll go away. Are we doing okay?
Oh, I would say so. This is plenty of material.
I would think. So 5 minutes, 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did blow my mind. Stockholm. You think a place like Sweden, with all its great history, all of the important pioneers in human rights, Dag Hammarskjöld, many others, that would be a place of great freedom and safety, but that's not true, even Sweden. And I saw that a lot in Europe and Eastern Europe, which I haven't explored, but I know about it. And there is a great concern that there's organized hate campaigns against us, Nazis, in Europe that are, they're like the Klan. They want to get us and murder us. It's bothersome. So, experiencing that firsthand. I saw it in Rome. I worked on Rome World Pride. I wanted to be part of that, again, because it was about confronting the Vatican. The Italian organizers were kind of crazy. They were like, "Oh, it's going to be a big march, and we're going to have floats." And I knew that Rome was like America in the 50s is all run by drag queens and the mob, so right away I made all the queens gowns. So there's like no velvet ropes for Gilbert. It went everywhere. And the mob people were pretty nice. But emerging community, and they needed their Stonewall moment. And we kept saying, well, yeah, it's a march, but this is about confronting the Vatican. This is Rome. It's about the church. And it took a lot of very patient and very skilled public relations on our part to make that work. And it did, brilliantly. 1 million people showed up. The Vatican fought us every day in the newspapers. We get a contract, we close tomorrow. We have a party. No, you can't be here. Everything is owned by the church. So it was really hard to organize anything. I said, if I could do it in Rome, I could do it anywhere. But we had a conference. And we had Ilga came, and it was one of the first times ever that we had a big worldwide conference of delegates from around the world, and Amnesty International came. 25 years we'd been working on Amnesty International, and Cynthia Rothschild at Amnesty came. It was so thrilling. It was like, this is an amazing moment. We're really, coming together as a world community, as a world presence, and, finally Amnesty International. So we all go have lunch in the plaza, and we come back to the hotel, and there are police everywhere. And I'm like, what's going on? I said, just go inside. And so as we sort of got up to where the hotel was, there's a mob of people in black shirts. I swear to God, black shirts, full tilt, Italian fascist. Sieg Heil, kill fags, right in front of the hotel. They had barricades and police and everything. And they were there, to make that message. And so I saw it in Rome. I've seen it in Sweden. It certainly exists in Germany and France. And it exists, sadly, everywhere, even in the U.S. We have our 40th anniversary of Stonewall, and that'll be in New York and many cities across the U.S. But there will be people there who hate us and are advocating a violent solution for us. And that's a problem. That's something we have to face, and we have to fight. And it's complicated because we don't want to throw away our own right of free speech, our own right. But at the same time, I don't want to see them prevail just through the might of violence. So it's a complicated thing. That's why, again, the visibility, mass visibility, is so critical, because it gives people hope. When they see 1 million people marching in New York, it gives the 10 people that are marching in Jakarta hope. When they see 100,000 people marching in a place like Albany or someplace like that, it's amazing. It really sends a message of hope. And then when you're there, I get so tired of people saying, "Oh, I'm so over the gay pride parade. I'm not going this year. It's so boring." And okay, I get it. It's been Xerox. It's been done. But you go to gay pride to be with your people. It's important to show up for yourself and for your people, because when you go, that gives you power. You know who they are. Maybe you don't like all of them, and maybe there are elements of the community that you may find disagreeable, but you go there and you're part of it because it's all of us. And I think that little bit of time that we share together in a moment is you can't buy that. You can't make that up. That happens because people do it, and that is more than visibility. That is power.